Hello, friends. In today's video, I'll be talking about which are the life lessons or teachings contained in the Bhagavad Gita, which have had a really profound effect on my life and which I have been making serious efforts to incorporate in my day-to-day life. And in case you have still not read the Bhagavad Gita, I would really recommend you to read it at least once because this is like all the great scriptures around the world. This also has several layers. Every time you read it, you'll feel as if a new layer has unfolded in front of you and some new truth has emerged in front of you, which you could not grasp or understand in the previous reading. In today's video, I'll be talking about which are the six main lessons which I have been striving really hard to make part of my daily lifestyle. The first one is living without fear. As you know that the background on which Bhagavad Gita is set is the Mahabharata war, and here it starts when Arjun finds himself in a dilemma. How can he fight against his family members who are in the opposing side? So here at this stage, Bhagwan Krishna shares the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita with Arjun so that he can overcome his doubts, dilemma, fears, apprehensions, and perform his duty to the maximum of his capacity. And this is something I think which is probably the most important takeaway for me from Bhagavad Gita because I have personally experienced that, in many day-to-day situations and circumstances, we sometimes are a bit uncertain or we are fearful about what would happen, whether we'll be successful or not, whether what we are doing is right or not. And sometimes the level of fear and uncertainty is so high that we get paralyzed by it to an extent that we are not able to do anything. And that makes the situation even worse. So, if you take this teaching from Bhagavad Gita into your day-to-day life, you should always focus about what you can do to the best of your ability. And you should never be afraid about what could be the outcome, whether you will be successful or you might be a failure, how would people react to what you're doing. So always do what you feel is right to the best of your ability and never let fear interfere your judgment and your actions. And you will start realizing that, once you leave the outcomes or success or failure to the God Almighty and just focus on what's the best you can do, slowly you'll feel as if your life has simplified. You will not feel always stressed and under a fear and uncertainty and always tense about what will happen, and your life will become much simpler and calm. The second takeaway for me from Bhagavad Gita is the importance of leading a sattvic life. Bhagavad Gita talks about three elements or guna in this world. The first one is sattvic, second is rajasic, and the third one is tamasic. The main difference between these three elements is sattvic is something which is very balanced, pure, and calm, and rajasic is something which is very energetic and full of passion and ambition driven. And tamasic, the third one, is lethargic, ignorant, and lazy. So, these three elements are part of all aspects of our life, whether it's the way we talk, we think, our actions, our attitude to life, our surroundings, our environment, what we wear, what we eat. And here, I think you should try to incorporate the sattvic lifestyle in all aspects of your life. But I think one of the easiest change which you can incorporate to gain the benefits is having a sattvic diet. Sattvic diet consists of fruits, vegetables, milk, and grains, basically a simple vegetarian diet. And Rajasic, on the other hand, is very highly spicy, oily, and food which really excites your senses. And the tamasic food is something which is very bitter, stale, or a food which is not fresh, which has been preserved, which has been mixed with preservatives so it can sustain a very long life. And as you would have read about in several researches, that now even science has proven that the more you're able to incorporate a sattvic diet, the more beneficial it is for your health. Because the more preservatives, additives, these kind of artificial taste enhancers you add to your food, they would not be beneficial to your health. And besides the physical impact, sattvic food also impacts your mental state because the kind of food you eat also governs what kind of state your mind is in. And if you want to progress higher in your spiritual journey, then it is very important that you move towards a more sattvic diet. The third lesson which I would like to share is that always finding time to meditate. Bhagavad Gita lays a lot of importance on why we should meditate and how we should meditate. And one of the key reason which is being laid forward in Gita is that the main reason why humans have the ability to think, contemplate, and meditate as compared to all the living organisms and animals in this world is that through meditation, we realize our true potential and purpose in this life. We realize that how we can become one with the supreme energy or the supreme force, and if we don't take out some time for meditation and thinking about and identifying what our true potential is, then we would not be leading a life which we are supposed to lead. We'll just be leading a life which can be compared to any other animals who's just uh, leading their life aimlessly, eating and sleeping. And so, unless we take time for some deep meditation to ponder upon the purpose of our life, then we have not utilized our human life to the maximum potential it was meant to be. And the next teaching, which had a very profound effect on me, was living the lifestyle of a yogi. A lot of people think yoga just means a set of breathing exercises and stretching your body, but Gita defines yoga literally as balance. So, yogi is a person who leads a very balanced life because Gita says that to move towards your higher steps in your spiritual progression, you should always try to have a very balanced life. This means balancing all aspects of your life, and whatever you do, never go into the extremes. Whether it's having a food, you should have a balanced diet. Whether it's sleeping, you should have a balanced sleep, not sleep too less, otherwise, your body will not be rested, not sleep too much, otherwise, you'll feel lethargic and lazy. The same is for work, that you should always find a balanced work where you have sufficient work to keep you engaged and not feel bored, and also not working too much that it exhausts you and you're not able to focus on your other aspects of life. And this is something which I think is really important in today's world when people get carried away with what kind of work, a job, or a business they are doing. Sometimes we get so obsessed that we forget that there are other aspects of our life, and being totally obsessed with our work, business, money, or property, or whatever we're working towards, we neglect other aspects of life, which overall uh, destroys the balance of our life and always leads to undue mental pressure and stress. The next teaching, which I found really useful, is to let go of our ego. Because sometimes in our day-to-day life, especially when we achieve things or when we gain some success, we tend to develop a sense of ego, or as Gita calls it, ahamkar. And once we start associating everything to our personal individual efforts, that we have done it, we have achieved it, and we are superior to others, then that is something which signals our downfall. Because the moment we, whatever blessings we have received from the Almighty, we start associating it to our individual efforts without realizing that there is a supreme force which governs what everyone gets, then that is something which will surely lead to our downfall. So there is an important teaching in Gita that we should always be very humble, and whatever success and opportunities come our way, we should always consider it as a blessing from the Almighty. The sixth uh, life lesson, which I find very important from the Gita, is letting go of material possessions and not running after material wealth. Because nowadays, if you look around, you will see that most of the people are always driven by wealth, money, materialistic possessions. The only focus and criteria they have for success is that how much money and wealth they have amassed. But Gita clearly highlights that the more we run after wealth, money, possessions, and property, no matter how much we'll amass, we'll never become happy and satisfied. Because the more wealth we accumulate, the more paranoid we become. We start getting fearful, we become paranoid what will happen if we lose it, and we are always constantly tense about how to get more. We never get satisfied with it. And on the opposite spectrum of this, if we adopt a minimalist lifestyle where we are not chasing or running after materialistic possession, then our life become very simple, calm, and serene. We learn to appreciate the smaller things and which things are actually important for our life. And to lead a happy and balanced life, we don't need any material possessions or wealth or money to be stacked away in our lockers so that we feel confident about it. So I hope you like the teachings I've shared from Bhagavad Gita. And even if you're able to incorporate some part of it in your lifestyle, which helps you achieve a more balanced, peaceful, calm life, I would consider the purpose of this video as served. Thank you.